What's up, everyone? Welcome to Ashley Talks Movies, and welcome to my review of Christy. This is the new sports biopic from director David Michôd, who co-wrote the script with Mira Folks. Sydney Sweeney stars as trailblazing boxer Christy Salters Martin, who burst onto the boxing scene in the late 1980s and helped put female boxing on the map. But there's a darker side to Christy's story. As she starts advancing in her career, Christy faces a troubled personal life that includes physical and psychological abuse by her trainer-turned-husband, Jim Martin, played by Ben Foster. Before I jump into the review, if you want to support the channel, there's a couple ways that you can do it. One, you can subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. Also, join in on the conversation, jump into the comments and share your thoughts about the review and the movie.
You must be the lady I've been hearing so much about.
Yes, sir. It's an honor to meet you, Mr. King.
Now tell me about yourself. Jesse here says that you fight in all pink.
I'm from West Virginia.
What's that got to do with pink?
Nothing, sir. I'm just telling you about myself.
Christy is a sports drama that tells the story of a real person, and it follows a very familiar formula that you would typically find in a movie or biopic like this. So the way the story unfolds is pretty by the numbers. You see the rocky start to her boxing career, her rise to fame, wins, losses, personal tragedies, and then of course, triumph. The way that director David Michôd tells his story keeps things very grounded, and that also means that stylistically, though, he keeps things pretty simple. And honestly, this was one thing that disappointed me about this movie, is that it didn't really have any flair in that department. And it would have been nice that it had a little bit more style just to match Christy's personality, because she has such a big personality. But what keeps this movie from feeling like just another sports drama are the incredible performances. Now, Sydney Sweeney is amazing, and I'll admit, I had my doubts when it was announced that she was going to take on this role, but it's clear that she put in the work, and the transformation is remarkable. She really does disappear into the role. She changes her mannerisms, the way she speaks, even the way she looks physically. And it's not just the physical transformation either. She brings the emotional heft needed for this portrayal. Sweeney is surrounded by a strong supporting cast, including a nearly unrecognizable Ben Foster as Christy's former husband, Jim. And Foster is always such a consistent actor. He's always incredible in everything he does. And that's no exception here. He plays Jim as this very hostile guy who gaslights Christy as a way to control her. And he plays him with this quiet rage that's always sort of simmering. And you're just waiting to see how Jim will react in certain situations. And Foster has this very piercing stare that he gives Jim. And at times, it's really chilling. I also want to mention Chad Coleman, who appears very briefly as Don King. His performance is a bit one note, but I think that was mostly just how that character was written. But his performance does capture the spirit of a man who was known for his showmanship. Christy Martin is a fascinating person, but not a lot of people know about her life and her story. And if you're one of those people, you can come into this movie and learn more about her, but also you can leave with this compelling, inspirational story that's filled with highs and lows. I think this movie does a really good job of giving you insight into not only the challenges Christy faced as a female boxer, but also the struggles she had in her personal life. You often see how Christy tries to please the people around her to the point where she hides so much of herself. A great example of this is with the boxing persona that she takes on. She's wearing pink boxing trunks and pink gloves to appear more feminine and not be quote unquote butch, as Jim would say. And a lot of this is to, again, please the people around her, the people who are trying to boost her career and telling her this is how you have to look and this is how you have to act. But also, it's a way to keep people from questioning her sexuality, which is a part of her life that she's also hiding. And the movie also shows how her being a people pleaser drives a lot of the decisions that she makes in her life, including her relationship with her then husband, Jim. And that relationship provides some of the most gut-wrenching moments in the movie because there's domestic violence, abuse, and manipulation. But thankfully, it isn't all sad. Christy's story is one of survival and triumph, and the movie also focuses on that. This movie covers about a 20-year span in her life and her career, so it jumps around a bit in the timeline, but I think the movie does do a good job of cluing the audience in to where they are in the story. One of the ways it does this is by having a date appear on the screen or the characters' hairstyles and outfits will change to match the decade. Although I will say the wigs in this movie were not great. The wigs needed some more work. So I got to see this movie as part of an early screening that also included a Q&A with the real Christy Martin. And it was an incredible experience, a rare experience, and it was one that I was very appreciative of because I know that everyone who's watching this movie won't get to have that experience. But it was really great to hear from her and hear about her life and her career and about her collaboration with the people who made the movie and certain aspects of the movie. And it just gave me a whole new perspective on her story, which I already found very compelling after, watching the movie. But again, it just added that extra layer that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Overall, I thought Christy was a solid sports biopic that doesn't do anything new in terms of the formula, but it tells a very compelling, true life story with some incredible performances to back it up. So those are my thoughts on Christy, which is out in theaters on November 7th. Are you interested in this movie? Do you plan on seeing it in theaters? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate that. See you next time, everyone, and thanks for watching.